Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Matt Grogan, and today I'll be presenting the marketing strategy for my company, Elevation Design Co. So let's begin. First, a little background information about the company. It's a small boutique design agency that I founded. It offers a variety of services for small businesses. We do print and digital layouts, whether they're long or short. Custom graphics, infographics, presentations. We also do web development, web design, including email templates. We specialize in logos and brands. We also do a lot of advertising, whether it's digital or print. Our primary focus, however, is on branding, web design, and marketing. So our core business is broken into these 4 different areas: graphic design, brand identity, website design, and marketing. So this marketing strategy will cover 6 different segments: an overview on the graphic design industry, competitive analysis, who our target market is, what our pricing and what our products are, how we advertise and where we're located, and also how do we know we're doing a good job at marketing. So first, let's look at the graphic design industry as a whole. Nationwide, it's worth $13 billion. And what's unique about the graphic design industry, there's not one single dominant company. There's not even a handful of dominant companies. It is very distributed with small local companies who are typically under 20 people. Fortunately for us, it is a growing industry. It's supposed to grow an additional $5.5 billion in the next few years. Specific opportunities for our company within that industry is the growing demand for digital, whether that's websites, digital advertising, digital brochures. Everything that was print is now going digital, and a lot of companies are starting to realize that they can't live without that kind of access for their customers. We are located in rural Kansas, so about 3 hours from Colorado, about 10 minutes from the Colorado border. So we have very few competitors out here, which we'll talk about next. That also gives us a good opportunity to really dominate an underserved market. Nobody from Denver has really tried to reach out to these markets because, let's be honest, they can't really afford the high prices of the Denver design agencies. So that gives us a special niche that we can thrive in. Also, out here, high-speed internet has become a regular household item, whereas a few years ago, if you didn't live within the city itself, you did not have access to true high-speed internet. The rural areas, which is really where the predominance of the people live, out in the country, out in the farmsteads, they now have access to high-speed internet, and that is forcing local businesses to evolve and offer better websites, better digital products. So let's look at our local competition. Within 100 miles, there's 3 companies. There's us, Elevation Design. There's a company called Tinkering Owl, and another company called Acme Printing. Tinkering Owl is a very similar company in the sense that they offer logos and websites. They're actually only located 35 miles away, which in a rural environment is practically your next door neighbor. Interestingly, Hoover stated that regional economic activity drives demand because most graphic design firms are small and work locally. I would argue that 35 miles is still fairly local, so they are a direct competitor of ours. Acme Printing is located about 85 miles away, and they are in a much larger population center. We're located in a town of about 1,000. They're located in a town of about 7,500. This gives them access to more business. However, they specialize more in printing than they do in design services, and they actually only have one graphic designer on staff, and he's the owner, and he's busy doing a lot of the products. So their bulk of their business is the printing services. We've actually formed a partnership with them. So rather than directly competing with them, we collaborate together and we leverage both of our unique skill sets. So that has worked out well for us. Honestly, other than that, we have online competitors. Websites like Fiverr and Upwork provide super cheap design products for clients who are looking to save as much money as possible. The challenge for us is not competing with the quality, because typically the quality of this work is very generic, cookie cutter. For $50 logo, you won't get anything custom. It's likely the same logo that 10 other companies have bought that week. The trick is educating our clients that $50 should not be the price of a logo, and that what they're paying for with us has a lot more value in the long run. There's also a lot of competition overseas. Emerging markets like India, Indonesia, they have some pretty good designers, I'll admit, and their cost of living is so incredibly low. They can charge, a tenth of what we have to charge just to make our bills. So there's a whole nother market of competition coming out of that world, and a lot of them are competing on Fiverr and Upwork because that's the only real portal they have to this marketplace. Fortunately, our advantage over a lot of our competition is that we are home-based. So we do not have paid employees. We have much lower overhead costs, and this allows us to underbid the competition without sacrificing quality. This is incredibly valuable when we compete with business in markets like Denver, who have a lot of competition, but it's a very expensive town to do business in, between rent, having to pay your employees for to reimburse for the cost of living, housing prices, and whatnot. So these companies typically have to charge a lot more just to cover their expenses and their employee overhead. So that gives us quite an advantage. Our target market is broken into 3 different segments. Our primary market is small business owners. We don't really distinguish based on sex, education level, or even your industry you're in. It has everything to do with, do you have enough money to afford our services? And we prefer you to be a full-time business and not a hobbyist. We do work with people who are merging their businesses, so they're taking them from a part-time to a full-time. But typically when we've worked with those part-time, home-based businesses where they have one foot in, one foot out, it becomes incredibly hard to meet goals and deadlines, and often there's just the commitment from the client isn't what we want it to be. So we prefer full-time businesses. Fortunately, Kansas is rife with small businesses. That is the primary source of business by far. In our home county alone, small businesses employ 60 to 82% of all workers, and in the county next to us, immediately east, 100% of employees work for small businesses. So there is an incredible demand for small businesses. In 100 miles radius, 80% of everybody works for a small business. So out here, it's very, very big. A secondary market that we target is the nonprofit. So this includes like local foundations and charities. Sometimes it's a simple one-off charity where they're doing one event and they're done. Sometimes it's a lasting foundation where they're trying to grow their endowment fund. Either way, we found that working with their company has allowed us to gain access to stakeholders in the communities, which not only who are possibly small business owners themselves. It just provides us good PR, good word of mouth. It's all been upside. These places often don't have a lot of the money. Some of them do have quite a bit of money. So sometimes reimbursement comes in the form of future project work, just getting in front of decision makers. Another market that we do target is the government market. Like I said, there aren't a lot of competitors out here, so demand is high for design services, and local and municipal as well as regional county governments, they have demand for design, and fortunately they also have budgets for design. And although the process of getting their business is much longer, it always requires proposals. You have to put in bids. A lot of designers don't do proposals because it just takes time. We still do. We found that we do like a certain mix of government business because they often do cross over to the nonprofit. So it's often the same people, more impact on those key stakeholders, and they also have reliable payment. Typically, if they've allocated money for the project, you know the check's going to clear, and that is not always the case with small business owners. So moving into our pricing strategy, we do have a two-tiered pricing structure. We do charge lower for the rural areas, mostly due to the lower cost of living. This also drives a lower cost of doing business. Travel expenses are much less, even though you might drive a further distance. Hotel rooms are a fraction of what they cost in a large city like Denver. Also, you have the general market is a low cost of living, and so businesses are not accustomed to spending as much as they would in Denver because their profit margins are smaller. Their net profits are smaller, and therefore they don't have the same budget to spend on design services. It may be proportionate to a large business's budget or a big city business's budget, but it's not as high of a number. But like I said, our cost of living and business is lower, so we can afford to work at these prices. Larger cities have a much higher pricing because the market demands it. It's a very competitive environment. There's a lot of quality work. Businesses can't afford to pay for that quality work, so we do price ourselves differently in those areas. It also helps offset the cost of having to travel 3 to 4 hours into those major city centers and potentially stay the night and incur those kind of expenses as well. So we haven't found any pushback on the two different pricing structures because they're both market centric. And even a large city center, we are able to underbid most of the larger companies because, like I said, we don't have the same overhead. Our key services, these would be our products. Brand identity is our primary product. We found that if we can get our foot in the door and help an emerging business or a business that's been around for a few years who never really had a solid brand, A, identify that a brand is valuable, and B, want the best one they can find, we will develop that, and then that leads to more collateral design, signage, business cards, letterhead, things like that. And we use that to leverage an upsell into website and market campaign management. So if we can get our foot in the door by holding onto their brand and earning their trust, we found that we can then convert a one-time logo customer into a website customer as well, and then hopefully into a recurring market campaign product. Our marketing services are kind of the same way. We'll work with brands that are already established, help them develop a strategy. Often this is social media, an area where there's not a lot of knowledge out here. And an upsell for that would be then actually designing the social media assets. So like the actual images, actually building the campaign decks. So it's just another opportunity to get more business from a current customer. We do not have a storefront. Our website is our digital storefront. This is where potential clients can find and shop for their services, for our services. The primary purpose of the site is to funnel clients through their buying journey. So ultimately requesting a service consultation through the contact form or calling us directly. So it is supposed to be a simple to use action funnel. We intentionally limit the service descriptions because they become very complicated and there's so many unique custom products that our clients want, and we'd hate for them not to find it listed. So we generally just lump things into graphic design, brand identity, website, things like that to get them interested so then we can have an actual conversation. Our real marketing channel we've used is social media. Other than word of mouth, which has been very, very beneficial out here, social media is one of the areas that we directly try to influence and control. We currently only do Facebook and Instagram. Most of our efforts are on Facebook. This is where we generate our awareness campaigns. So this is an opportunity to just evangelize our business, get the word out there, let people know we do exist, have people share our posts, engage on our posts. So the whole purpose of those campaigns are just to plant our flag around saying, we are here, we're here to help you. And so hopefully that will increase our followers and people who do pay attention to our messages, because we do send a lot of education with the purpose of trying to influence small business owners into investing into a brand. Often people out here, they make a heck of a widget, but they don't understand the value that a brand can bring to that widget, and how leveraging that brand can actually take their widget and make more money with it. So we do a lot of reposting. We write our own content about the value of branding. So hopefully we can gain access to people through the awareness campaign and show them education. We also showcase work examples. This helps prove our bona fides, our credentials, and helps people connect our business with local businesses, which is very important in the rural market. Instagram reflects a lot of that. We don't do education campaigns on Instagram because it's visually centric, not content centric. But we do use Instagram much more to do a behind the scenes, more of a get to know us, see the people behind the brand. This helps in rural communities people connect with us, because then they start identifying that we are the ones who actually own that brand, and people out here like doing business with people they know and like. Both of these channels are intended to drive traffic to our website, which then funnels them into action. So although we're creating awareness, we're educating, these are still direct springboards to get them to engage with us on the website, or secondarily on the Facebook messaging platform. Now, how do we know we're doing a good job? Well, we keep it real simple. We use Google Analytics and we use Facebook Insights. Google Analytics is great. It kind of throws everything in the kitchen sink at us, but it's easy to filter into just the stuff that we really care about. So the most things we care about are website visits, click-through rates, social media conversions. So website visits, who you are. So what are your interests? What's your age? What's your demographics? Where are you accessing us from? Are you coming from Denver, where we're focusing our social media marketing, or are you opening up a new market that we didn't realize we're not serving? What time of day are you coming? That helps us know when to target social media. And then how are you getting there? Are you clicking links? Are you traveling through Google search? Are you direct URLing to our site? Those are all valuable to know if we need to adjust things on our social media campaigns. Click-through rates tells us how well our pages are set up. Are they converting action, or are you just showing up and leaving? Social media conversions, this is kind of a subsect of website visits, but it tells us, but specifically, what social media platforms are generating business, because we do push a lot on Facebook and Instagram, so maybe one is more effective than the other one, so that helps us to, know that. Facebook has their own dashboard built into their campaign, and this is where we determine, are we reaching the people we want to reach, and is there engagement? Engagement is everything on social media now, especially Facebook. So it lets us track how our posts are being received. Simply having eyeballs on them isn't as important as people actually doing something with them. So we don't take as much from Facebook as we do from Google, but it is a valuable free resource. And for a small company, we love free, we love simple. So that concludes the marketing strategy for Elevation Design Company. So just to recap, it's a pretty simple strategy. We're a digital services company and we live digitally. So most of our marketing efforts are focused on social media, driving our customers to our website, and then converting those customers or those leads into customers. So pretty simple action funnel. We're well positioned in a marketplace that is growing, and yet in a region that is underserved. So we're hoping to become a dominant player in the rural design industry, and also start chipping away at that Denver business, because we do like a diversity of industry and of locations. So we are growing, and this marketing strategy is intended to take us to the next level. Thank you very much.